If you're new to starting seeds, then you'll find out that there are lots of ways to accidentally kill your seedlings. And one of the ways can actually be in the final step of planting them outside. And it's what you need to do before you plant them outside to protect them, to strengthen them, and to make sure they're ready for your garden. Although some plants are so strong and vigorous that you can direct seed them outside and they'll spring up quick and they'll produce lots of vegetables and produce for you, that is not the case for every vegetable that you grow. And some of them are going to need to be started inside by seed, or you're going to have to get them from a nursery. And even if you get them from a nursery, you still want to do this. This is hardening off your seedlings. They need to get used to being outside. When plants that have been grown inside, like tomatoes or peppers or herbs or whatever, are used to being grown inside in perfect conditions with the perfect amount of light, not heavy wind, not beating down sun, and just the right temperatures, they're somewhat spoiled, and you have to teach them to be strong before you plant them in the ground. This is not a very complex thing to learn how to do. Hardening off your seedlings is very easy, but you have to be patient, and that is where it can be very hard. If you bring your new seedlings out into the garden, they've been inside growing strong, even from a nursery, and you plant them straight into the dirt when it's ready and it's past frost date and your gardening day is set and you get there and you put them right in the dirt, they're going to die. And the reason they're going to die is because they will not have been used to the intense heat of that sun, and they're going to shrivel up and they are going to die. And if you have started seedlings, all that work you've been doing for months is going to go to waste. So the hardening off process is really like you're getting them hard, you're getting them tough, you're getting them strong. So that's going to start either 2 to 4 weeks before you put them in the ground. So this is the perfect time to be thinking about that. Don't worry, you don't need to do it for a full month, but if you want to do it a little bit each day, that's fine. And so what hardening off is slowly bringing them outside. Now, the best way of doing this is slowly. When you first bring them outside, put them in a shaded spot, whether that's going to be under a tree in your yard, whether that's under your carport, just somewhere where it's going to be shaded. You don't want direct sun on them. That will parch them quickly and they will burn out. You do not want that to happen. So put them in a shaded spot for an hour or two for the first day, bring them back in. Your second day, do it a little bit longer, maybe 3 or 4 hours, and then slowly increase that each day. And as it gets longer, be able to move them into the sun slowly. That gets them used to the heat outside, it gets them used to the wind, and it gets them used to the sun starting to beat on them. Now, I also like to use a fan because I think that also strengthens them when I'm growing them inside. And you'll see some gardeners go like this over top of their plants. That helps them get stronger, touching them like this and waving over them. That is another way and a method that you can use and that I would definitely suggest doing. It's not very hard. You can do that every day as you check on your plants and look at how they're doing. If you're growing seedlings, I know you're looking at them every day. So just do that, do those little things that also help strengthen them, but they still need that hardening off even when we try and make them as strong as possible beforehand. But that does help with preparing them for the wind. And trust me, that wind and that sun, it may not seem like much to you, but to a tiny little seedling it is. So like I said, you want to do this about 2 to 4 weeks before it is time to plant into the garden. Make sure you do, so that means 2 to 4 weeks before your final frost date, or whenever you are going to get those plants into the ground. I would do this with anything that you are growing seedlings and putting them outside. Even if they've been grown in a greenhouse with a nursery, at a nursery, they still need a hardening off. They're still not used to being outside. It's not this. Try not to be impatient with this. Try not to put them out in the really high heat right before you plant them, just 1 or 2 days before. That is not good for them. And you do not want to work so hard keeping these things alive for the last 6 to 8 weeks that in the last 2 days, just with your excitement, that you don't do it. I'm not saying that if you don't do it for a full month or a full 2 weeks, they won't be okay. They will most likely be okay, but it's good to have that in mind so that if you miss a few days or you don't get them outside each day or whatever happens, that you have some time to still get them acquainted with the outdoors, with the wind, with the sun, with the heat, so that they are not hurting. It also helps to put them on something that's big and can easily be carried, like we have here. We actually put it on our sifter that we've been using. That's made it easy to carry them in and out, and my husband has been my helper with that, and we carry them in and out each day and have been giving them time. All that to be said, This is an easy process. Just make sure you take your time, you're patient with it, and you slowly wean your plants into getting used to the sun. One last tip for hardening off: when it comes time to plant them into the ground and it is very warm, sunny, beautiful day, you can also do this as well to help protect them. If you have old juice containers, old milk containers, you can cut them and make a little dome like this. And you can set them on top of certain plants, like your tomato plants or whatever that you're more worried about, and they can help protect and kind of give a little more shade and stop the intensity of the sun for the first few days. You know, it's up to you. I didn't do that until last year, and I was glad I did because of how hot it was when I planted some of mine. But if you don't have them, don't worry about that. But it's something to think about now if you do want to do that, to start saving your milk jugs. I know in our house that wouldn't be too hard to save up a lot of milk jugs with as much milk as we drink. But if you have a lot of tomato plants like we do, you won't be able to cover all of them unless you have friends and family that can save their milk jugs for you. So if you want to do that, ask around. These are great for protecting from the sun, but they're also great for protecting from frost. So if you've seen people grow plants early with milk jugs over them, it's super cool, and something I have not tried but would love to in the future. All that to be said, a good milk jug can go a long way in the garden. Well guys, I hope this video was helpful to you. We are getting closer and closer to the regular gardening season here in Tennessee. So excited. Potatoes are going in the ground this week, Lord willing, and in a few more weeks we will get everything else in the ground. So happy, so ready to get into it. But this is the final step before we plant them in the ground. So guys, I hope you'll join me in hardening off your seedlings, preparing them for the garden, and finishing strong before we get these into the ground and the real fun begins. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up. Please share it with your friends and your family. And as always, please subscribe to this channel. And until next time, guys, we'll see you soon.